Alright guys, as promised, here is the paper 2H walkthrough of the June 2018 series under Edexcel. Okay, so I'm just going to go straight into it because I know you guys have seen this quite a few times. As always, make sure you use a black pen when you enter the exam, and you can use calculators. I recommend always using calculators as always, yeah? And in the formula sheet is always in the first page. I know some of you guys asked me where can I find it, so literally open the booklet and it's there. It's better to definitely make a note of what formulas are not in the list so you can try and summarize them, yeah? Anyway, here's a bunch of them, so you're given a lot. But otherwise, let's go straight into question 1, yeah? So we've got 23 to go, and let's have a look. Okay, 1a. Make A the subject of this formula over here. So all I can say is that when you want to make a certain letter subject, instead of writing m equals, write AC minus BD equals m. So always start with the subject first, or the equation has a subject. And then all you gotta do is literally move every term and make A the subject. So firstly, let's get rid of the BD, yeah? To throw BD across, if it's negative, it becomes a plus BD. Because remember, the sign always flips when you throw across equal sign. And then to separate the C from the A, just divide by C. So be A equals M plus BD over C. And that's it, we leave that here. Now, next bit. Solve the inequality. So always imagine this inequality as equal signs, yeah? And then just solve it as always. So first things first, let's get rid of the numbers away from x. So instead of minus 4, we need to plus 4 across. So we're going to have 5x less than, so 39 add 4 is 43. And then, as usual, just like the first example, we're going to divide by 5 to separate the 5 and isolate it. So we're going to have x less than 43 over 5. And you can leave it here. You don't have to go deeper than this. Now C, factorize fully. Okay, so this could be in one or two things, but let's just jump in, yeah? So to factorize, what I always do is firstly put a bracket underneath like that and just copy the layout. Then I ask myself, okay, so what numbers go into 18 and 12? The biggest number you can think of. Well, they're both in the 2 times tables, the 3 times tables, the 4 times tables, and also the 6 times tables. So you can pull out 6. Now the e's, they both have at least an e, and they both have at least an e squared. So they both have e squared in common. And as the f's, they both have a single f in common. Now all you want to do here, and let me just change the color of the pen, is to literally ask yourself what goes in each of these blocks. So what is missing? Well, we took out the 6, so you're going to have 3, because 3 times 6 is 18. You have no more e's left, because you took out both of them. But you still have f to the power 2 left, because there's 2 more f's. And then repeat the same for the right. So for 12e, so you took out 6, you got 2 left, you got an extra e remaining, and you have no more f's. So the result is going to be 6e squared f times 3f squared minus 2e. And that should be it. Alright, question 2. Work out the difference between the largest share and the smallest share when 3,450 yen is divided into these ratios. So it tells us firstly that we have a total amount, and this is every single part possible. So when it comes to certain ratio questions like these ones, we should add up the ratios firstly. This will give us the equivalent number of parts, which is 15 by the way, which should equal the total money, which makes sense because the money is being divided into these many parts. Now all we have to ask ourselves is firstly, what is one part? Because it's always good to know one part. Well, one part is going to equal this money, 3,450 divided by 15, and according to my calculator, it's about 230 yen. Now let's have a look clearly what the question wants. It says work out the difference between the largest share and the smallest share. Well, the largest share and the smallest share is clearly referring to 2 parts and 7 parts, and the difference between them is 5 parts. So the question wants us to work out what is 5 parts. Well, if we know 1 part is 230, 5 parts is 5 times bigger. So 230 times 5 is going to give us 1,150 yen. And that's it guys, all done. So number 3 now. Gopal is paid 20,000 rupees each month. Jamuna is paid 19,200 rupees each month. Gopal and Jamuna are both given an increase in their monthly pay. So let's keep this in mind, yeah? After the increase, they are both paid the same amount each month. Alright, so we have to somehow equate these, yeah? Gopal is given an increase of 8%. Work out the percentage increase that Jamuna is given. Well, let me say something, yeah? With these kind of equations, always start with this. You always have some original value and some multiplied, like 1 plus or minus a rate, and it'll give us a new value. In this case, we're increasing, so we're only concerned about the plus quantity. So we can say, for instance, yeah, so let's just take this side, yeah? We can say that Gopal had 20,000 and it increased by 8%, so 1 plus 8%, okay? And we know that this was equivalent to, instead of writing a new value, it will be a Jamuna's amount. And Jamuna earned 19,200, and this was an increase of something, let's say P, so we can work out the percentage, yeah? Now, all you have to do is literally just rearrange this equation and make P the subject, and that is the percentage done. So what you could do, instead of like, working out separately, firstly divide 19,200 across, so we're going to have all of these lot, so 20,000, and by the way, this is just 1.08 over 19,200, and you're left with 1 plus P. And instead of just making another line, just subtract 1 across. So basically, all of this minus 1 equals P. That's it, guys. Now put this in a calculator, because I haven't done that yet. So you should get 20,000, 1.08 over 19,200. All of that minus 1, and should give us 1 over 8. So P is 1 over 8. So let me just write that down. And again, just to change this to percentage, guys, just times it by 100, yeah? And you should get 12.5%. Okay, number 4. So show that this fraction on the left hand side can equal the right hand side. Well, the good thing is on your calculator you can actually do this so easily. But here's a couple of things we should do, yeah? So there's a button in the calculator, and this is if you're using the Casio, for example, FX. It could be 83 or 85, even the later models. What I would do personally is firstly enter this function in, this fraction in, and you can use the shift button plus this fraction button. So these two buttons, yeah. When you press it, you're gonna get a mixed number. So enter this one in the calculator, and you should get something like, let's have a look, 25 over 7. And then same for this one here. I mean, if you're not sure how to do this is easy to calculate, but you can just use that just to make your life easy. So you should also get 13 over 8. Now the trick here is that what you could do is realize that because the answer is out of 56, you can try and force it to be out of 56. And let's have a look. How does 7 become 56? Well, you times the left hand side of the fraction by 8 up and down, and times the right hand side of the fraction by 7 up and down. And doing so in your calculator you can just do 8 times 25, that should give us 200, and 7 times 8 is 56, and do the same for the right side. Timesing up and down by 7, that will give us 91 over 56. And then just putting in the calculator, 200 take away 91 is about 109 over 56. And then putting this in the calculator and then pressing, well, you could actually just write the answer as 153 over 56. And then you're done here. But to confirm this value exactly, what you could do is press the shift S into decimal button. What this does is that it converts it to a mixed number as well. Okay, yeah guys, that's literally a little shortcut for number 4. You could do it step by step, the original method, but because you're using a calculator, it's always good to try and take some shortcuts. Okay, number 5. Ooh, circle theorem. So in the diagram below, P and Q are points on a circle with center O. Okay, so QT is a tangent to the circle. Angle OPQ is 18 degrees, and we need to work out the size angle PQT. So PQT is from here to here to here. So essentially it's this shape. So we need to find this angle. Okay, so let's have a look. Couple rules we need to spot here. Change the color to the pen. So when you have a tangent, so tangent is basically a straight line that touches a circle or any whatever curve once. And when it touches a circle, from the center of the line to the circle is always a 90 degrees angle. So it always makes a 90 degrees angle at any point from the center to the edge of the circle. Now, what we can notice here is that this little shape here inside the triangle, inside the circle, is actually an isosceles triangle. It's one of the properties here, yeah, of circles. So if this one's 18 degrees, then this one must also clearly be 18 degrees. And because we have a right angle here, we can say that 90 take away 18 must give you the remainder, 72. And that's it, that's your answer, 72 degrees. Now, even though we got the actual answer, we still need to give a reasoning, right? So let's have a look at everything we did. So we said the first triangle was an isosceles, yeah? So you could say that triangle, what was that, OPQ is isosceles, so isosceles. So therefore this means that angle, so to write this clearly, you can say this is angle OPQ must equal OQP. So angle OPQ equals angle OQP, which are both 18 degrees. And also we can say that the line QT is perpendicular. So perpendicular means it's at an angle of 90 degrees, yeah? It's perpendicular, so 90 degrees to line or radius OQ. It doesn't have to be this perfect, but I mean, as long as you can somehow justify it clearly. So therefore, go down a bit. So therefore, angle, so they want us to find angle PQT must be the difference between 90 and 18 degrees. And I believe this is more than enough. I mean, how many marks is it? Well, it's 3 marks, so I'll say 3 points, okay? Okay, 6 now. The diagram shows 2 cylinders, A and B. So cylinder A has a height of 1.6 and B's got a height of 0.6. And the radius of A is 0.56 and the radius of B, well, we don't know. So let's just give it a name, R. Okay, work out the surface area of cylinder A. Give your answers in meters squared. Okay, cool. So to find the surface area, and this is super easy because you're actually given a formula, let's go straight back to the opening of the book, yeah? So right to the top, the formula booklet. So when you come over here, you just want to find the curved surface area of the cylinder, and here it is. So this formula right here. So it's telling us the curved surface area of cylinder is 2 pi times the radius times the height. So we just go do 2 pi times r times its height. So let's go back to the question for a second. Let's just keep that in mind, yeah? So here we go. So the curved surface area. So we can say that the curved surface area is 2 pi RH. Now, not much to say here. Just replace R with 0.56 and then replace height with 1.6. So in your calculator, at least you just put that in straight away. You don't have to do all the steps, but just for the sake of convenience, you can just write this here. Now, putting this in calculator, we should get 3 significant figures, yeah? So 2 times pi times 0.56 times 1.6. So let me see. So that's about 5.63, yep, rounded meter squared. Easy. Yeah, not much to do that. It's actually so easy. So cylinder B is mathematically similar to cylinder A. Alright, so what that means is that these two are directly proportional. So 1.6 is proportional to 0.6, meaning 0.56 is proportional to B's radius. Now, work out the radius of cylinder B. Alright, let's just do it from up here, yeah? Now, all you can say is this. You can say, alright, so you can say, let's see how many times bigger, how many times smaller 0.6 is to 1.6, yeah? So you can say 0.6 over 1.6 will give us, and in the calculator, I got 3/8. So let me just double check that. So basically, this is essentially 0.375 times smaller, so 37.5%. Now in your calculator, you can just literally write, okay, that means R must be 0.375 off 0.56. So R equals 0.375, the scale factor, times 0.56. And that should give us, and just make sure your answers look legit, a radius of 0.21. Okay, number 7 now. So the students in Class A and Class B take the same examination, alright? There are 28 students in Class A and 32 in Class B. Now the mean score of all the students in both classes is 72.6. So let's keep that in mind. So this is the total mean out of 60 students, yeah? Now the mean score of the students in Class A is 75. Work out the mean score of students in B. Alright, so this kind of example is something known as the weighted mean, yeah? And the way it works is that we got to think of it like this. We say we got 28 students in Class A and on average they each scored about 75 marks. Plus there were 32 students in class B, and they scored, well, let's call the mean of B, yeah, just for convenience. And if you combine the two results, out of 60 students, we should have got a mean of, what was it, 72.6. And this makes sense because you're essentially counting 75 times 28 marks and B times 32, and altogether there's 60 students. So the average of this must equal the total class average of 72.6. Now, and that's it, we're pretty much done here. And the aim here now is literally just to rearrange and solve for B. So let's have a look. So to solve this equation, this is just algebra problem now. Let's times 60 across, and let's go ahead and simplify this, yeah? So 28 times 75, I should have done this in advance. So you're going to get 2100 plus 32b. And then what I will do is times 60 across to clear the fraction. So 72.6 times 60, give me a second guys, yeah? Times 60 is, whoa, 4,356. And now you just rearrange and solve for b. So that means if you subtract 2100 and divide by 32, so I'll just show you the working out. Subtract 2100 and divide by 32, you should get an average B mark of 70.5 per student in class B. Okay, hope this helped me. So really all you have to do is essentially consider the weighted mean, guys, yeah? Once you got that, then every single problem like this will be the same. Now let's move on to part B. Okay, let's go down a bit. So the lowest score in class A is 39, and the range of scores for class A is 57. Okay, so range just means the difference between the biggest number and the smallest number, yeah? So we know the smallest number is 39, so the biggest number we don't know. Now the lowest score in class B is 33, and the range is 60. Find the range of all the students in both classes. Alright, so this one's going to be a bit more different, yeah? So I always try and do this visually. So we have the range for A. The lowest was 39, and the highest we don't know. Let's just call it upper A, yeah? And we know that the range, the difference between the highest and lowest is 57. So actually this is easy. If the difference is 57, just add 57 to 39. So 39 plus 57 will give us, times, will give us 96. So the upper bound is 96, yeah? Now how about for class B? You know the range was 60 and the lowest score was 33. 33 at 60 will give us 93, and this is the upper bound. So this means that the range of all the scores, so the lowest in both classes was 33 and the highest was 96. The difference between them should give us 63. Okay, now this one I bet is everybody's favorite question, because this is definitely my favorite question. And this is good old Sohcahtoa, so trigonometry, yeah? So for these questions, always write Sohcahtoa, and believe me, it's going to make your life super easy. Now let's have a look. Work out the value of x. Alright, that's the objective. So for right angle triangles in trigonometry, always label the necessary size, the relevant size, yeah? So if this opposite length, the angle, is 52, this means next to it is the adjacent. So 12.6 is the adjacent. And of course, the big diagonal side is always the hypotenuse, which is opposite of our angle, yeah? Now, we look at the Sohcahtoa. Which one has A and H? Well, it's Ka. So cross out these two, we're going to use Ka. Now, to write Ka, it's always like this. C stands for cos. So it's cos of the angle. So cos of the angle, which is 52, equals A adjacent over hypotenuse, so A over H. So A, which is 12.6, over hypotenuse, which is X. And you're done. Now all you do is literally rearrange this very simple algebraic equation and make X subject. Well, to do it, firstly, clear the fraction times X across and divide cos 52. Or just swap them around. And you're done. Enter this in a calculator and you've done question A. So let me just make sure it's okay. For you guys who are getting different answers, so let me just see a second. Okay, yeah, so I got 20.5 centimeters. So just quick tip, if you guys are getting different answers even though you're typing the same thing, make sure your calculator is in degrees mode, yeah? Otherwise it's going to recognize your 52 as some sort of radian measure, which is something you see in A level, but some people already use this in different courses similar to maths at the GCSE level. But anyway, yeah, that's it for number 8. Let's move on. 9. Solve the simultaneous pair of equations. Super easy. Now, just doing this super fast, yeah? You have to basically match the coefficients. Coefficients are the number in front of the x or y. So the second pair has a 7 or a y. You can essentially just times the top by whatever x has. So if it's 7x, times the first line by 7. So times in the first equation by 7, you're going to get 7x plus 7y equals, and 15 times 7, I should know this, 105. And you copy the second one underneath, exactly as it's written. And all you want to do is literally subtract these pair of equations. Because the aim of these simultaneous equations is to eliminate the common variables and only have a single variable left. For instance, yeah, subtracting these lot, you should get, let me just put red, 7x take away 7x is nothing, it's gone. 7y minus 5, so it's a double minus, so it's a plus, so 7y plus 12y, 5y is 12y. 105 take away 3 is 102. And yeah, you're done. Now you just, to get y, divide by 100 over 2. What am I doing? I'm so slow. 102 over 12. Divide on your calculator. Divide by 12. And you should get 8.5 for y. You can leave it as a fraction, but decimals is nice too. And to find x, well, just pick any of the 4 equations we have that looks easiest to you. I'm gonna pick this one here because it looks so simple. So x plus y is 15. That means x equals 15 minus y, or minus 8.5. Yeah. So 15 minus answer should give us 6.5. Yep. So this is another one of my favorite questions because this and the previous one are just so easy. I'll be honest. Okay, 10. Ooh. So 8 over 2 to the power 7 equals 2 to the power 9. Find the value of n. Well, just to, if you guys want to do this super fast and since you got your calculator, there is something I call the illegal method. And this one is literally makes this problem so easy. It's unbearable. The trick is, rewrite this as 2 to the power n equals 8 over 2 to the 7. And then you're going to notice there's a log button in your calculator. So all you can do is firstly say, alright, just like a normal algebra question, if this was 2n, you can write this as n equals, now the log of everything here over the log of 2. So just remember, if it was just a regular 2n equals all of the right hand side, you just divide 2 across, right? So it'd be something like that over 2. So the difference is, when you're working in powers, you can just stick a log in front, and doing so will just give us the answer straight away. So how we go, guys? The log button is in your calculator. So I'm going to just do this as well. So 2 to the power 7 over log 2, and you should get minus 4. And this is actually the correct answer. There is a standard way, which is changing 8 as 2 to the power 3, 2 to the power 3 over 2 to the power 7. Subtract the powers, you get 2 to the negative 4. That also works. This is just a guaranteed no mistake way. Okay, using just divide 2 across and smash logs in front. This is something you learn in A-level maths, but I think it will just help you guys solve these problems really easily. Now let's try that method again for the second bit, yeah? Because it's the same thing. So you got 13 to the power k equals all of those guys. Now you can just say k equals the log of everything that was on the left side. So let's just do just make it clear, yeah? So 13 to the power negative 6, power 4 times 13 to the power 5. All of this over log, what was in front of the k? 13. See what you guys get for this one too, yeah? So here, I mean, again, you could just use the standard method, but this is just if you can't be bothered like me. So 13 to the power 5 over log 13, and you should get minus 19. So yeah, it works. Now let's have a look. So a solid metal sphere has a radius 1.5 centimeters. The mass of the sphere is 109.6 grams. Work out the density. Okay, straightforward, yeah? So unfortunately you're not given the density formula, so I'd recommend you put this in your formula books right now. which is density equals mass by volume. Okay. The good thing here is that we have the mass, which is 109.6. However, we do not have the volume, but it indicates to us that it's a sphere, and we know spheres are basically a giant ball, to summarize it. And the sphere formula is actually given in the beginning of the booklet, and it looks something like this. It's 4 over 3, 4/3 of pi r cubed. Okay, so this is the one we have to write down. And here you just need the radius, which is 1.5. So just literally plug into your calculator. So you got 4/3 pi bracket 1.5 close bracket cubed. Put this in, and you should get about, well, exactly 4.5 pi. I recommend you leave it like this in pi form just for now, yeah. And now in your calculator we can say therefore the density equals the mass, which we know is at 109.6 by 4.5 pi. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do this as well, yeah, just to make sure I did it right. So 0.6 over 4.5 pi, and we should get to 3 centimeter figures, about 7.75 what is it, grams per centimeter cubed. Okay, it's important to state the units here. Yep, grams per centimeter cubed. Okay, and that's really it. Sorry. Now, number 12. So it says here that we got a diagram that shows a hexagon A, B, C, D, E, F, and BC is parallel to ED. Okay, so where's BC again? So here's BC, yep, parallel to ED. Work out the size of the obtuse angle, DEF. Obtuse literally means the angle bigger than 90, like a obese angle. That's how I memorize it, as obese angle. So I'm tired to DEF. So this wide angle here. Okay, if they told you to work out this bit here, this would be known as the, well, technically could be a right angle, acute, or even a reflex. So I'm guessing this would be the obtuse angle, the interior reflex, yeah? Now, let's go and try and work this out. So what can we see here? So we know we have a hexagon, so a 6-sided shape. So you guys need to know one formula, yeah? It's called the sum of the interior angles. And the way this calculate is that you calculate the number size, which they tell us is a hexagon, so it's 6. So it'd be n minus 2, so 6 minus 2 times 180, okay? This tells you how much all the angles inside the shape adds up to. So what does it give us? So we got 4 times 180, so 360, so 720 degrees. So we can assume that all these angles add up to 720. Now, another thing we can know. So we're trying to find this angle here, right? So let's call this one x. We should know this angle here, since we're given everything. You need to realize that we have this kind of shape. If you got two parallel sides, this means that the sum of these two so-called allied angles should add up to 180. So A plus B equals 180. So angle at D plus angle at C must equal 180. So if we got 42 already, just subtract 42 from 180, and you should get about 138. So that means all of these interior angles here, 50 plus 96, 144, 42, and 138, and x must sum up to 720. So let's go ahead and sum these up here. So I'm just gonna show it right down right here. You guys can go ahead and smash this in your calculator just to verify it. Plus x equals 720. Now the quick way to do this is just collecting like terms here. So 50 plus 96 plus 144 plus 42 plus 138 should give us a 420 on the left side, 470 I mean, plus x equals 720. Then 720 minus your answer, and you should get 250. And that's it. That should be it, okay? Okay, number 13. Felix has 10 cards. There are 5 reds, 4 blues, and 1 green card. Now, Felix takes at random one of the cards, and he does not replace the card. So this means one of the cards is removed. Felix then takes at random a second card. Complete a property tree down below. Okay, so to summarize, it's nice and easy. You start with 10 cards, and when you pick that certain color, you have one less card left. So for instance, we have 5 out of 10 reds, and we choose a red card. This means you now got 4 reds out of 9. And of course, you didn't choose the others, so you must still have 4 blues. So 4, 9 in the pack. You still must have 1 green, so 1 out of 9. So that's how you go. You just select the root and subtract 1, 1, and make everything the same. Now let's do the next set. For blue, you had 4 blues, and we took another blue, so you must have now 3 blues out of 9. And as for the red and green, you still got 5 reds and 1 green. Lastly, for green now, if you took 1 green and there was only 1 left, that means you got no greens left. So it'd be 0 out of 9, or just 0. Whereas the others, you still got 5 reds and 4 blues. So 5 out of 9 and 4 out of 9. Nice and easy. Okay, now work out the probability that Felix takes at least 1 blue card and no green card. Okay, so these kind of ones can really make you stumble. So what this really means is that in your selection of cards, you must not firstly have any green at all. So this means that the green route is out. Okay, we're not going there. Now, secondly, to get at least 1 blue card, this means that we have to either have blue in the first set or blue in the second set. And of course, once again, green is out. So these values are all out. So we can't go there. So here's our combination. And for these questions, always write combinations, yeah? So you should find first a probability of getting either a blue card first and then maybe, I don't know, a red, because that's still at least 1 blue and no green. Or to get a blue in the first card and maybe another blue, because it says at least 1 blue, not only 1 blue. However, you could also get a red first and then a blue. Or, yeah, and that's it. That's all you can get, because you can't get red and red, and you can't get any green. So these are the 3 options you can have. So to get blue and red, this means you need to go through blue first and then get to red. So it'll be 4/10 times 5/9. So that's one root. So let me put this down a bit, make it look neater. So this was red, blue. So we said the first probability would be in 4/10 and 5/9. Okay. To get blue, blue, this means 4/10 and 3/9. And lastly, red, blue, this means you're going to go through 5/10, the first chain, and then blue, which is 4/9. So 5/10 and 4/9. So this looks similar to the first one. And that's it. Now all you do is literally resolve each one and put the final probability there. So nicely, they're all out of 90. So 4 times 5 is 20 over 90. This one is 12 over 90. And the last one is 20 over 90. And then you must sum these out, because remember, these are all different options you can take. So 20 plus 12 plus 20, which is 52 over 90. And then just put that in a calculator and simplify it. And you should get, well, it's not really worth simplifying. You get 26 over 45. And this is, I'm sure, will be fine. Okay, 14 now. So this one I've already actually gone ahead and done. Only part A, by the way. There's actually a really super easy way to complete the table values for an equation. If you're using a Casio calculator, and I highly recommend either, again, the FX, what is it, 83 or 85 model, and I think that's the only ones you can actually use. There's a specific setup you can do. In your calculator, if you press the most setup button and press number 3, which is the table, and then enter the function you see. And by the way, to enter the function, you need to use you go press the alpha key. So in your calculator, I think it's Shift Alpha. It's like a red button, and you got this kind of X, Y, Z. Use the actual letters, so x cubed minus 2x squared, and so on. If you're not sure how to do that, please let me know and I'll try and create a video on that. But anyways, if you do this and then you enter the following commands, so for instance, if they tell you how to start, because you start with x equals minus 2, you write x equals start with minus 2, and because the x values ends at 3, you press end 3. Now you're going to get next option, which is step, and what this means is that is the difference between every single x intervals. So for instance, if you look at some points, we can see that x values are going down in 1, and then it's going down in 0.5s, or going up in 0.5s. So what you want to do here is just write this, the smallest step count is doing. I put 0.5, so that way it goes into 0.5s or everything between. So when you press that, you're going to get a list of x values and a y values, or the function values. And done. You should get every single answer for y. Now this, what I recommend, is the fastest way in doing this. You'll get the whole table solutions done quickly. Otherwise, you can manually input the values inside the equation. For instance, for minus 2, you would write y equals, in your calculator, minus 2 bracket cubed, minus 2, and instead of x, you put minus 2 squared. Instead of x, you put minus 2, minus 2 again, and so on. But this is such a long method, and let's be honest, just this method here is just so much nicer, especially if you've got so many values. But anyway, when you do this, let's move on. So it says here now, on the grid, draw the graph of what you just did for the values of x from -2 to 3. In other words, plotting the coordinates, yeah? So we got -2, 6. So let's check it out. -2, -6. -1, 4. -1, 4. And -0.5, which is over here, to 4.875. So 4.875 is around here. No, that's 5 actually. No, that's fine. So 5 is here, so it's about here. So you have to just carefully put these values in, yeah? And that's really it. So now it's all been joined. Not the best curve, but hopefully it looks a bit like this. Guys, just correct me if I did anything wrong and just let me know. Otherwise, let's move on to C. So this is the one that everyone seems to get problems with. So by drawing a suitable straight line on the grid, find estimates for the solutions of this equation. Okay, now the problem with this equation is that if you look back at the original equation, they do not look the same. So let's go ahead and just firstly copy this equation down there, yeah? So let's write this down. So the original equation looked like this. It was x cubed minus 2x squared minus 3x plus 4. And now the new equation, and I'm just going to put 0 on the left side. 0 equals x cubed minus 2x squared minus x plus 1. Now what this means here is that because, you know, they've actually indirectly modified the original equation to do some kind of substitution, all you really need to do really is just try and make your new equation look like the original equation. Let's see what happened. So let's have a look. So it went from 4 to 1, right? So to go from 1 to 4, we need to firstly add 3 to this equation from this part. And to go from minus x to minus 3x, he went down by minus 2x. So this essentially means that now we have the same equation. So we're going to have minus 2x plus 3 equals x cubed minus 2x squared minus 3x plus 4. So we've kind of done it. So this is the suitable straight line that they're talking about. Y, which equals that now, minus 2x plus 3. So yeah, that's really all we have to do. We just need to see what went wrong and do on both sides, and we get the exact equation they're missing. And I think that's it. So but now we have to actually draw this on the grid. And to me, the easiest way to draw this is to literally just put out some coordinates and you're done. So for instance, I would say, okay, make a little table. Ask yourself, what happens when x is 0? So when x is 0, we're going to have y equals 0. Remember, minus 2 times 0 is 0, plus 3, which gives us 3. And another one. Let's say, what happens when x is 1? When x is 1, we're going to have minus 2 times 1, which is minus 2, plus 3. So minus 2 add 3 is 1. So these are our pairs of coordinates. 0, 3, and 1, 1. Now plot this into the curve, 0, 3, and 1, 1. So guys, I've taken you over to PowerPoint, yeah, because it's the only way I can draw proper straight lines. So anyway, what I did here, I just plotted the points we found, which was 0, 3 over here, and 1, 1. So here's 1, 1. Then I just drew a straight line connecting them. Oops, hitting every single point. Now, to find the solutions, it's basically the points intersection. And they only want the x coordinates, not the y. They don't really tell you about y. But probably for the purpose of it, I guess we'll find both of them, yeah? So let's have a look. So the first solution occurs somewhere over here, yeah? So that's about, I don't know, somewhere here, which is, that's 1, and this is 0 0.5, and this is 0 0.3. So you can just say the x solution is, I don't know, 0 0.3 or 4. So let's say 0 0.3 slash 0 0.4. Okay, we're just going to stick to the x coordinates, yeah? The y's will be similar. It'll be over here. So for the next solution, you'll see that they intersect around here. And by the way, guys, this is just like, this is of course not a very unique cubic graph. So in the final solutions or the final mark scheme, they're going to give more exact results. So stick to that solution, yeah? And of course, all our graphs might look quite different. But anyway, let's keep going. So another one would be around here. So let's just say this is about 2.2. And then the last one would be around here. And that's about, what was that? So you got minus 0 0.5, 0 0.6, 0.7. So x equals minus 0 0.7. So I'll say these are the answers you need. Okay, number 15. So E and F have both been rounded to 2 decimal places. So we got 8.31 and 0 0.65. And when something's been rounded to 2 decimal places, it means it was originally 3 decimal places or more. So for E and F, we should put it back to 3. So we say that E, and we should always write like this, typically, if it was 8.31, to get down to 2 decimal places, it could have been 8.315. So it's always plus minus on the third decimal place, you add or minus 5, yeah? So it'll be 15 there, or it'll be 05. So 305. And same thing for F. If it was 65, then it's probably 655. So 6.55 or 645. So just plus or minus the 5 on the third decimal point. Okay, now let's have a look. So work out the lower bound for the value of E minus F. Now, one thing is definitely not. It's definitely not the lower bound of E minus the lower bound of F. Reason why is that this is identical to the difference of the upper bound of E minus upper bound of F, and even the regular E minus F. All of these have the same difference because you're measuring the same difference. Because look, if you look at the difference between these two values, it's the same as these two values, which is also the same as these two values. So none of this would be correct. The lower bound really means that we need to find the smallest or the tightest difference. So the tightest gap would be the smallest possible value of the bigger value minus the biggest possible value of the smaller value. So you're kind of trying to, it's called maximing or mini-maxing. So we're basically just doing 8.305, so the lower bound of E minus the upper bound of F. And when you do that, we should get, and I'm just going to check it out now, guys. Oh man, I'm wrong. 0.305 minus 0.655, and you get 7.65. That's it. Done. So 16. So it says here that R is proportional to T squared. Okay, so what this means firstly is that keyword proportional is another, literally a symbol for this notation, which in turn is another symbol for equals K. Now what it's telling us is that R, the Factorize equation, is equal to some scale factor K times T squared. And that's it. That's literally the equation describing this curve right here. Okay, and that's what the question says. And that will give you 1 mark. So when it says find the formula for R in terms of T, you got it right here. However, we need to actually figure out what the value K is. And to do that, well, we just need to pick any coordinate from this curve. You can of course pick the easy one, 210 or 440, because they're perfect values. I wouldn't recommend picking any other random value you can't see. So let's go with 210, yeah? So when T is 2, we're going to have an R value of 10. So these two, yeah? Matching up over here. So let's go ahead and put this into the equation, yeah? So R is 10, we got K times 2 squared, which is 4. So solving this or making K the subject, should get 10 over 2 squared or 4, which is 5 over 2 or 2.5. So we can say therefore the equation of R in terms of T is R equals 2.5 T squared, or R equals 5 over 2 T squared. So whatever you guys choose, you should get a mark either one. Okay, so let's move on to the next bit. So B, given also that R equals 8 over 5x, so this is following on from the previous problem here from R, show that T is inversely proportional to root x. Okay, let's go ahead and bring this equation down, yeah? So R equals 2.5 T squared, yeah? So let's do that here. R equals 2.5 T squared. And now it says given that R equals 8 over 5x. So from here we can see that they want an equation with T and x. So R looks like it's eliminated. So what we have to do here is realize that we can connect these two together. We can pretty much equate them because they both equal R. So essentially we can say that 8 over 5x must be equal to 2.5 T squared. Alright. Now what do we do here? Well, let's have a look. So it says here that we need to firstly make T the subject, okay? So we need an answer which is showing that T is inversely proportional to K over root x. So that's what it means. That's what K inversely proportional means. You know, if you're not sure how I got that, it's literally this T inversely proportional to the inverse of root x. and you flip this thing with an equal k, and that sticks over here. So we need to find what k is basically and make t the subject. So let's do this, yeah? So what we could do is divide 2.5 across. So we're going to have 8 over 5 divided by 2.5. So in your calculator, you would literally write 8 over 5, and then use the divide sign and write 2.5. And that should give us 16 over 25, and of course x is still at the bottom. And this is now t squared. Now all you want to do here is just square root everything. So this will give us t, and then square rooting this entire quantity here, you're going to get 4 over 5 root x. Hey, it looks like we're done. And this looks like inverse proportional. So we basically have t is proportional to, is inversely proportional to root x, where the scale factor is 4/5. And that's it, guys. Looks like we're done. Okay, 17. Ooh, differentiation. Alright, this is my favorite ones. So let's do this. So find dy of dx. Now, if you guys are pretty comfortable with differentiation, the whole rule is that you just have to see if there's an x, and there is, see if there's a power. So if it says x to the power 3, you drop the power 3 down, so it becomes 3x, and subtract the power by 1, so 3 becomes 2. And that's it. Next one, so we look at 2x squared, drop the power 2, so you got 2 times 2 is 4. Subtract the x power by 1, and you got 1, so it's just 4x. Now if you're left with just an x, literally the x vanishes, so you got minus 15. If there's a constant, well, that disappears, so that becomes 0. And that's it, that's your equation. So that's 3x squared minus 4x minus 15. Now let's move on to the next bit. So C is the curve with equation, the same one from above. Work out the range of values for which the curve has a negative gradient. Now, the whole point of dy dx is that this is an equation for the gradient expression. Yeah, so this is known as the gradient expression. Okay, this is something that needs to be fundamental. Yeah, we just gotta know this. Yeah, so it's telling us that we need to find some values x which makes this negative. So the only way something is negative if all of this is less than 0, right? So that's it. We just write that equation. So we say that dy dx, which is known to be this, has to be less than 0. Now, this is literally not too difficult because this is a quadratic equation. So what I would personally do, and I'm not going to factorize, I'm going to go ahead and just smash this in the quadratic formula. So if you're not too sure what the quadratic formula is, we're given it right at the back, yeah. So it's actually given. So it's minus b plus minus the square root of all of these lot. And the solutions are, and it's given in this form. So you need the a, which is in front of x squared, the bx, and it's plus c. And we got it. So going back to the question, so right here. So we got our values. So we got a, which is 3, b, which is negative 4, and c, which is negative 15. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in the formula, yeah? So minus b is going to be b minus b plus minus b squared, so be 16, minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. Okay? So have a go putting on your calculator, guys, yeah? The point of this is that these are going to give you those important critical values, yeah? And then we're going to see what to do next to them. Okay? So minus 15 over 2 times 3. So one of the solutions is a 3, so x is critical at 3. And the other one, well, if it's a minus sign, you're going to get x being x equal minus 5 over 3. So these are the critical points. But they want us to find the range of values, yeah? So because it's less than 0, we need to just basically plug in, yeah? Now the key idea is that I use this table, true-false method. So I draw a number line with 2 points, the smaller number here, and the bigger number here. And all I do is say, if it's middle, if the values in between is true, that means the range will be between. If it's false, that means the range will be outer. So we're going to see if it's inner or outer, yeah? And all you do is pick a value between minus 5, 3, and 3. So I'm going to pick when x is 0, yeah? I'm going to see what happens when x is 0. If I plug in 0 into this equation here, do I get a value less than 0? Well, let's see. So I put 0 here, we're going to have 0, minus 4 times 0 is 0, minus 15. And well, minus 15 is less than 0, so it's true. So this part is true, meaning that the solutions are going to be inner, so it'll be between. Now I know this because if I put a value less than minus 5 over 3 or bigger than 3, like 10, that will be false, okay? I just know because if you can test it and you'll get the result. But bottom line is, just check the middle. If it's true, then it's inner. If it's false, then it's outer. And that's it. So that means the solution is going to be x is going to be between the inner results. Minus 5, 3, and 3. And that's it, guys. That's all you literally need to know. Okay, 18. So a triangle has sides of lengths 8, 10, and 14. Okay, so let's sketch it out. Doesn't have to be perfect, yeah? So 8, 10, 14. So work out the size of the largest angle. Okay, easy. So the largest angle is always opposite the longest side because it's the side that stretches it out. Give your answer correct to 1 decimal place. Okay, so let's call this x for a second, yeah? Now to work this out, this is clearly, if you're not too sure, it's either going to be the sine or cosine rule, but in this case it's definitely the cosine rule. Why? It's because sine rule needs 2 angles and 2 lengths. We're only working with 1 angle and 3 lengths, so it's definitely not sine rule. So we're going to have to use cosine by default, yeah? Now, the cosine rule, I believe, is given in the formula booklet, but I'm just going to verify for you lot, yeah? So cosine, yep, lovely. So the cosine rule is right here. Okay, so this is the formula we want. I'm going to go ahead and just write it down, yeah? And there's actually an alternative version of the cosine rule, which I also recommend you guys to learn, yeah? Let's have a look. So we can say that the cosine rule, according to the formula, is a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a, where the capital letter, by the way, is the angle and the little letters are the lengths. So little a is going to be 14 because it's the only little length that's opposite capital A, and b and c could be a or 10. Doesn't make a difference. Now because we're trying to find the angle, the alternative formula is this, where you got cos a equals b squared plus c squared minus a squared over 2bc. Now I recommend you use this one only because you're trying to find the angle, and the angle here is already the subject. So let's go ahead and substitute everything in, yeah? So instead of a, cos a, you're going to have cos x. B squared and c squared is going to be 8 squared plus 10 squared. A squared is 14 squared over 2 times b c. And that's it, guys. Now you just literally cos inverse this. So that's it. I mean, not much to do there. So let's all work this out, yeah? So you're going to have a squared plus 10 squared. I mean, I should do this in advance, but I'm literally just trying to get everything done quickly, to be honest. So cos inverse this, and you get a large angle of 101.5, yeah? 0.5 degrees. Now, the problem with this one, this is actually known as an obtuse angle, because the angle is really big. Oh, no, oops, sorry, guys. You're supposed to, after cos inversing this, you get 101.5 degrees, yeah? That's what happened, cos inverse. Okay, number 19. Whew. I was not hoping to see this question, you know. This is one question I do not like. But let's have a go for it. So, the diagram shows a triangular prism, okay? I bet you're going to have to find a diagonal line and probably angle between the plane. So, AF is 10, AB is 24, and BC is 8. Angle FAB and ADC and BCD are all right angle triangles, so they're all 90 degrees. So, yeah, we see that there. Work out the size of the angle between the line BE, which is this line here, and the plane ABCD, so the ground over here. Give your answer correct to 1 dp. Now, let's go ahead and run this real quickly, yeah? To work out the angle between the plane is always basically the line which is the diagonal which is the furthest corner from one point of the 3D shape to the other side. So for instance, this line BE. This is the furthest line across. Now, one thing to note is that when you want to make an angle to the plane, it's always safe to assume to do it from this corner to his other opposite corner on the ground. For instance, here. And this would be the angle of interest they want. Let's call it theta, yeah? And one thing to note is that when you're trying to figure out an angle over here, you have to realize that you're looking straight down at the ground. And this would, of course, have to be perpendicular. So this is actually a right angle triangle. So if we just consider right now EDB, yeah? Just put on the side. This is how it looks like in 2D form, yeah? And we're trying to find this angle here. And it doesn't look so bad now. First things first, we have this length, this vertical length here, ED. It's right here, FA, which is 10. So this is 10. The only thing we need is this long diagonal D. And that is easy. To find the longest diagonal, you just work your way around using 3D Pythagoras. You got 8, 24, and 10. So d is basically equivalent to this. So we can say that using 3D Pythagoras, d squared will be equal to 8 squared plus 24 squared plus 10 squared. And then you just literally solve it. Now I did this already, yeah? I got 740, and square root in that, well, I just called it root 740. Your calculator will give a simplified answer, by the way, yeah? Now, over here, so since we got d equals root 740, so I'm going to quickly update this here, yeah? So root 740, you can just look at this and say, hey, this is just easy trig now. So this is just simple Sohcahtoa. And all you got to do here now is just observe what we need. So let me just change the colors. So looking at this carefully, the angles here, we got the opposite and we got the hypotenuse. So O and H. And the only thing that has O and H is so. So this means we're going to have the sine of the angle, which is theta, equals opposite 10 over hypotenuse H. So root 740. And that's it, guys. All you're going to do now is literally sine inverse. So have a go at that. Sine inverse your final result. And you lot should get, let me see, root 740. And I got 21.6 degrees. Was it 1 dp? That's it. That's literally it, guys. So the histogram shows information about the birth weights of some babies. Okay, now just notice it carefully, guys, yeah, that you're not given any frequency density. If you're not, the safest thing to do is just to, work algebraically. So for example, you can see that there's like a height of like 4 blocks up, yeah. So let's just work in ones, yeah. So there's 4 blocks up. So this could be a height of 4x, yeah. And that means this major bar is probably 10x, 15. This is probably 20x, yeah. Just counting, and this is 25x right at the top. Okay. Now, when you want to work at anything, it's always base times height. That'll give you the whole area of the shaded region, yeah. We're gonna come to that anyway. So it says here that 6 of these babies had a birth weight of less than 2.5 kg. So here's less than 2.5. This is this region here, or greater than 4. So okay, so we know that the purple region is equals 6. So just doing the maths right now, yeah. The area of this purple region is going to be base times height. So it'll be a distance of what, 2 to 2.5. So it's about 0.5 times 4x. So 0.5 times 4x in the calculator will give us 2x. And the area of this purple region, well, it's a width of 1 and a height of 1 block, so 1x. So it's 1 times 1x, which is 1x. So 2x plus x is 3x. That means 3x must equal 6 babies. And that means essentially dividing by 3, x equals 2. So I should get rid of the baby sign. That's the area. So that means this x value is 2. So we're actually going up in, let's replace x with 2. So it's going to be 8. So it'll be 2, 4, 6, 8. So that's it. We found our frequency density. Every little square is worth 2 units. Done. Now let's go back to the question. So it says work out the number of babies who had a birth weight between 2.5 kg and 4 kg. So that's literally everybody else. Let's do this, yeah. So let's work out the general area in algebraic terms. Plug in the 2 and you're done. So the area of this block here between 2.5 and 3 is a what? 0.5 across and 4x high. So it'll be a total area of 2x. This middle block here is, oh god, that block is ugly. So it's 0.4 across. It's got a height of 20x. So 0.4 times 20x. So 0.4 times 20 is 8. So it's 8x. This area is 8x. Now this skinny block is 0.2 across times 25. So 0.2 times 25 is 5. So this is 5x. This skinny block is 5x, yeah. And now this little medium box. So again, 0.4 times, I think it's up to 15, isn't it? So 15x. So this is 0.4 times 15x. So what's that? 0.4 times 15x. That's 6x. Okay. So now we just add up all these x's. So you got 2x, you got 10x, 15, 21x. And then because we know x is 2, this is going to equal 42. So we have 42 babies between this wave. Alright, number 21. Now these kind of problems, and this is very specific, if they use the word show you're working clearly, it does not mean just, put this root 45 in the calculator and then root 20 in the calculator individually. No, because with these ones, you need to actually demonstrate the method you use. Now, here I recommend that you use something known as prime factorization, yeah, or factor trees. So the way I'll do it is I'll take root 45, break it down into two pieces. So we can say that 45 can be made by timesing 5 and 9, so root 5 and root 9. So you're going to keep on going down until you get prime numbers. So 9 becomes 3 and 3, and you're done. Because why? You can say that root 3 times root 3 will give you a whole 3, because 2 thirds give you a whole, and you still got root 5, so root 3 times root 5 is 3 root 5. And that's one of them. And then you're going to repeat the same process for root 20. So 20 is the same as 2 times 10, both rooted, and 10 is the same as 2 and 5. And just like the previous one, when you got 2 the same thirds, they become a whole. So 2 and 2 become a whole 2, meaning we're left with 2 root 5. 2 root 5. And now combining these two guys, yeah, so 3 root 5 plus 2 root 5 is going to give us 5 root 5. And you're done. That's it. Okay, now for part B, we need to express this fraction into that form. Now, they'll never use this word, but the key word here is to rationalize. And I'm not going to lie, there is a little nice technique how to do this, thanks to your calculator actually. So the first things first, let's rationalize, yeah? So rationalize means, at least denominator, it means to clean up the bottom, get rid of the third. And to do that, wherever we have the bottom, we copy up and down, yeah? And we flip the sign to a plus. If it was plus here, we flip it to a negative. Okay? So let's put that there, and then just for convenience sake, just write like that. Now all you want to do is at least solve this line of working, and then when you do that and it's sufficient enough, you can actually smash in the calculator and it will give you the simplified form automatically. So let's do this. So 2 times these lot will give us 2 root 3 plus 2, nice and easy. As for the bottom half, well, it's going to be a quadratic, yeah? So root 3 times root 3 will give us a whole 3. Root 3 and 1 will give us plus root 3. Minus 1 times root 3 is minus root 3, so these two cancel out actually. So let me just leave as 3. And finally, minus 1 times plus 1 will give us negative 1. And that's it. Now, if you guys want, you can literally put this in a calculator because it's actually fine at that point. And doing so, you should get 1 plus root 3. You should be done. If you're not sure this is right, go back to your fractions and copy this down in your calculator. And if you do that, 2 over root 3 minus 1, you get 1 plus root 3 as well. So even this gives you 1 plus root 3. That's it, you're done. So this is one way to verify if you guys are happy with your answers, yeah? Anyway, let's move on to C now. Oof. Alright, this is the main one. So express this form into something known as completing the square format, yeah? Now, it's not as bad as it looks, I'll tell you right now. Now, the key idea is firstly copy this down over here, and then follow these immediate steps, yeah? So in order to complete the square, I always recommend that you underline the first 2 terms, yeah? And then we ask ourselves, what is half of 6 root 2? Well, you can always divide it by 2 in a calculator, but generally speaking, we always write x plus half of this would be 3 root 2. And then we wrap it around in a bracket and make it look like a square. So that's what it looks like. So when you got something like this, it's always going to be x plus or minus half of that term. Now, at this point, you're going to copy the rest. So copy the minus 1 and then subtract this lot squared. So it'll be 3 root 2 squared. And you're done. Now, all you want to do is literally put this all in the calculator, yeah? So put minus 1 minus 3 root 2 squared. I'm doing it at the same time, guys. And I got minus 19. And that's it. So the final answer is going to be x plus 3 root 2 all squared minus 19. So it says that we got, and I'll explain these properties if you're not sure. So we got A, D, B, and E, which are points in the circle with center O. And you got these lot, which are straight lines. So we can see it here, 3 different straight lines, A to C, C to O, and O to D. We've given measurements too. It wants us to work out the value of x. Okay, so one thing to note is that for any unlabeled side, it's important that we label it. So for instance, O to E is actually a radius. Why? Because O is the center, and anything that hits the circle is a radius. So I'm going to call that R. And one thing to note, O to D is also not fully labeled. So if we know that part of that radius is 2, that means the remaining part, we can just call it R minus 2, yeah? Just to keep the notation minimized. You don't want too many unknowns because you already got X. Now the point of this question is that we're going to have to solve R and X simultaneously. So we need two equations. That's why you got internal intersection method and external intersection. Now let's see how this one goes, yeah? So first things first, I'm going to use the internal intersection. Oh man, yeah, I got a terrible cough here. Awful. So internal intersection. So it says here that if you go across any chord such as M and N and I and J, we can say that M times N equals I times J. So look at this diagram, we can see we got, for example, A to B, yeah? We got 7 times 4, so that's one bit. And that must equal, and this is the weird one, yeah? So you're looking at D to O, but then you also got that it doesn't carry on. However, we know that it's going to be a radius that goes along. Why? Because you got O to E. So if you just imagine that we just like carry this on right across here, that would be another extra R. So in essence, we have a full length of R plus R minus 2. So we're going to have this full length all the way across, valued at 2R minus 2. Okay, so let's just keep that in mind, just for the sake of this question, yeah? So essentially, we're going to have, therefore, 2 times 2R minus 2. That's going to be the part where it crosses. And when you do so, you can easily find R, yeah? I'm going to quickly solve R. Okay, so you get 28, divided by 2 is 14. And R is going to be, just give me a second, plus 2, divided 2. So the radius I got was 8. Okay, so that's my radius here. And now, that's cool. So we can update these results. So this is going to be 6 here, and this is going to be 8. And it looks quite legit for now. Okay, so moving on forward. Now, as for the second part, external intersection, this is where it gets a bit more tricky as well, possibly. So we have to look at it this way. So it's going to be A times the full length, which is equal to this short length times the whole length. Now looking over here, we can start at point C. We've got 5 times the whole length. So let's do it here. So 5 times the whole length, which is 5 plus 4 plus 7. So that's 11. That's 16. 5 times 16 equals B. So B is X. And we're going to multiply that against X plus this radius 8. And if we extend it across, another 8. So because it's a radius, it's a circle. So we've got 8 plus 8, so 16 plus X. That's it. Now it looks like, okay, now it looks easy. So now we just solve for X. So let's have a look at that. So let's have a look. So 5 times 16, come on, that's 80 equals 16x plus x squared. Alright, so we have a quadratic equation, yeah? So just make it look into the usual format. So make it all equal to 0. And now we're going to go ahead and try and find the roots here. So, by the way guys, if you guys happen to find a faster way, please let me know so I can update this video in the future. Okay, otherwise, if this is right, then, you know, that's all good. So using the quadratic formula, it would be minus b plus minus, and remember the quadratic formula is in the front of the booklet, yeah? B squared, so 16 squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. Okay, cool. Let's see what this gives us. So we're going to get minus 16 plus, and I'm going to use the plus result, yeah? Only because I think the negative will definitely be wrong, because you can't have a negative length. 4 times minus 80 over 2. And okay, and yeah, I think it's legit because I got x value of 4. That's it, and I think this is the final answer. And because it's 6 marks, I don't know, I mean, it seems like a lot of work. But anyway, guys, if this is right, you know, thank you. But otherwise, then yeah, I'd like to hear your comments on this one. What you guys think about these methods? But otherwise, let's move on to number 23. And finally, guys, number 23. Whew. So after the beast of a question on the previous one, man, this one is a lot better. Not easy, but a lot better still. Let's have a look here. And oh yeah, this formula here is from the front of the booklet, yeah? And this is known as the sum of the first n terms, okay? This is the summation formula. Now, let's have a read. So we've got the sum of the first 48 terms of an arithmetic series is 4 times the sum of the first 36 of the same series. So what's that saying is that the sum of 48, when n is 48, is equal to 4 times the value of the sum of the first 36, which makes sense, I suppose, for whatever reason. Now it wants us, with this equation, to find the sum of the first 30 terms of this series. Okay, oh man. Now, all you have to do here is literally just copy this equation twice, replace n with 48 here, and then again on the right hand side replace n with 36. So let's do it. So for the sum of 48, we're going to have 48 over 2 times 2 times a, and by the way, a is known as the first term, by the way, if you know even if we know what it is, and d is the common difference. We have to figure out what these two are, I'm guessing. Alright, this is going to be equal to 2a plus, so n minus 1, so because 48 minus 1 would be 47d, equal to 4 times so s36, 36 over 2, I'm just going to make it quick, which is 18 times 2a plus 35d. Okay, and then 48 over 2 is 24. Alright, so it looks like we have two non-similar equations, I guess. Right, now what do we do next? So now we got this information. Let's go ahead and see if we can hopefully tie this up here. So expanding the bracket, you're going to have 48a plus, what's that, 24 times 47. Okay, so you get 1128d. That's equal to, sorry, for this one you want to do 4 times 18 first, just to avoid any error. And that should give us 72. 72 times a is 144a plus, now 72 times that I don't know in my head, so it's 2520d. Alright, so at this step you're probably thinking, what should I do next? Okay, well, first things first, let's go ahead and collect like terms here. Let's subtract these two across, and doing so I already did it, and I got 0 equals 96a plus so on. Okay, so that's fine. However, that's not it. We can also, I thought, okay, let me just find an expression for the sum of the first 30 terms. And doing so, I got this. So that's also easy. Now, at this point, this is the part where it can really confuse you. The question is actually just noticing that all of this actually equals 0. So possibly we might need to factorize this to make it look like the S30. And the question is, how do you factorize it now? What term to pick out? Well, my tip is to probably see if it's possible to get some number that leaves you with 2a plus 29d. I mean, if you can't do that, then the question is a fail. There's nothing we can do. So the only way to do this, and I'm not looking at this number, but I'm looking at 962. To get 2 left inside, you would have to, well, divide it firstly by 2, and you'll notice that you would have to divide it by 48 to see if this is possible, yeah? So let's have a look. Dividing this 1392 by 48, and I haven't even tried it, but let's see. You get 29. So in fact, all of this one is divisible by 48, and that means that all of this is equivalent to 0. So actually, just ignore 48 because you can cross it out now. 2a plus 29d is 0. That means this is 0. So 15 times 0 is 0. And that's it, guys. We're done. That's the end of the question. One rule of thumb is, sometimes if you don't know what to do, I'm telling you now, just put 0 or 1, and at least 9 out of 10 for those really hard ones you could be right. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my video and some of the basic commentary. And yeah, let me know if there's any mistakes or any doubts or questions you guys have, and we'll go over it. But otherwise, thank you for being here, and I shall see you guys next time.